This is part 2 of the visualizations that we can have and from the things that we can hear from letters. Letters can be represented as frequencies. They have the same kind of qualities that we can recognize, so that we can also derive some associations that are the same as we visualize them and the same as we hear them. They have the same qualities and we can recognize them in the frequencies, and that's my point, that my theory is not just theory, it's also something that we really realize by hearing. And we can visualize this as well, and this is my point, that we can learn to visualize it so that we can understand it and be conscious about it much more. So I already talked about the first 9 letters that are all about one focus in space, basically, upon everything which is there on the earthly plane, what we can recognize before us. And that was our first focus. It's directly before us, and we want to use it, and we can use it, and that's the way how we treat it. The second option with the next 9 letters is different. So there you go we depart actually from our opinion, what we see, and we realize that there is a second opinion, that there's a second place. There is also some things might not be there at our place and maybe somewhere else, so other opinions could be there as well. There is an environment which has different starting points and so on. That's the second option that you can have. Not there now, but maybe some other time later. So it's also about not just another place, but also another time. Especially for us, from our place, we look at another time where we could maybe go to at some point. So it's dealing, the same thing, it is dealing with the other as well, the other environment, the other viewpoint and so on. And all the letters direct itself to that point. And we have 9 letters, 9 positions there as well, with 10 letters that fit there. I will come to that why 10. And also there it will follow horizontal, vertical, diagonal, but in this case in a much more important role, because it is about direction. And these directions are meant to bridge the physical plane at the first point, because we have used horizontal, vertical, and diagonal, but basically actually simply to orientate ourselves from one point. Here we go to 2 points, so it means to 2 options. There is something else, I will come to that how it works, but we use the directions actually to go away from our physical plane. With the D, the N and the Y, we go away from the physical plane and focus upon, like, oh, it's not there now, so maybe, how does it come? Maybe I have to look at a timing schedule, and the same thing will be there at N as well. In N it uses a time schedule, in Y also it uses the time schedule to schedule it into a goal somewhere else. How do you present them? Basically, you could use a symbolized direction actually from one point, which continues where you follow the changes horizontally, where you follow the changes vertically, where you follow the changes diagonally, is different already than of course all the previous letters. So with the D you follow up the changes from a starting point. With N you see what changes immediately, so what is changing actually in the endurance into what's happening in the middle, so in what is making a body, what is materializing itself as well. And the Y is, you go to the direction of change it's the end goal, of course, to the application almost from what I can find from my spatial point of view, but also away from it. So away from my steady, fixed viewpoint where I can make changes. So here the viewpoint can endure the changes as well. +1, so it means also plus an extra focus. Here comes an extra focus to it, to the next level, and that there we will have the same kind of directions: horizontal, vertical, diagonal, with O, E, and Z and W. There are two options there. We'll come to that soon. But it is also the second level, so that means you don't only deal with one point of direction, you deal with 2 points of direction, or 2 stages of direction. So when I add that as well, the middle part is about the 1, 2, is about the 1, 2 options. Here you have the 1, 2 option. I start to look at what is changing, and I follow its development in O. I see what develops in E, and I see how it evolves in the Z and the W. How can it evolve into the 1, 2 options? If you have the 2 options, you have here 2 options of going down or going up in the diagonal. So the going down is the Z, the going up is, or going, the vibrations going up is the W, or going inwardly is the Z, and going outwardly is the W. That's how we associate it traditionally when we follow the theory that I already developed before. Last option is with 2 extra focuses. So you deal with 3 focuses at once. You go to, you follow up the horizontal, the vertical, and the diagonal, but you follow up the general direction. The general direction is horizontal, vertical, diagonal, while dealing with these 3 options. And how do you do that? You have then also 3 directions you have to deal with, or 3 the option in 3. So you're going to make out a balance. That's what the rules also say. So you have the G 2 times generally, and a conclusion. The horizontal can continue, so it doesn't matter, but that's the 3rd option that you come out. The F as well, you have the 2 verticals, and then in between you have to see, like, yeah, where more or less can I have a vertical? So this vertical can actually be the whole zone in between, and you have to figure out what's the most dominant with the P as well. It's more clear when I put it into the 3rd part, because that's also the conclusion, and that's almost like it is a resonance. You follow a certain resonance already. The 3rd option is about resonance, it's about feedbacks and interactions. You follow up where I can go to, where I have still have the same resonance, so that I can continue to go horizontally, or where I have a resonance so that I can have a line coming up, or something can be taken out, or I have a certain resonance that I can take out the deviances, the changes and so on from the results in P. And now I am already in that 3rd zone, a little bit of that resonance. And that's for the 3rd video.